did this because he needed to win that election. And he needed to win that election to fulfill his mission. And his mission was to bring the Bill of Rights to this country. And a part of the Bill of Rights that he introduced was our great First Amendment to the Constitution. And he, at that time, in the first Congress, told us what that meant, what that First Amendment meant. And he would later go on in the Virginia resolutions to explain that the meaning again, when the laws had changed such that the First Amendment was violated. He said that amendment stood for this proposition, that this government shall have no power over speech and press in this country. And it is a short-lived thing, liberty, because liberty requires eternal vigilance. And when we drop our guard, particularly when we don't even know the fight is taking place, we may lose our liberties. And so it was that a short time later, 150 years later, the workings are in place to deprive us of our First Amendment liberties in an area most dear to us. In an area that deals with public health, it deals with your individual health, your sovereignty in determining what goes into your body, your right to receive information necessary to make informed choices. And I'm going to give you a specific example because I was very directly involved. I had the privilege of representing parties who asked me to sue the government because the government, during the administration, the FDA administration of David Kessler, was censoring from the public information about folic acid, a little B vitamin with a powerful punch. That B vitamin, folic acid, in 400 micrograms when consumed by women of childbearing age before they become pregnant, can reduce the incidence of a neural tube defect birth, spina bifida, and anencephaly, by as much as 40% to 80%. That's 400 micrograms to 800 micrograms. But you have to take it in a pill, and you have to take it before you become pregnant. And the physiological effect of it is diminished substantially when taken after you become pregnant. Women were going into their doctor's offices saying, "I'm pleased to announce I think I'm pregnant." You confirm that. Being told that they were was a delightful moment. But they weren't taking folic acid until after they met with their doctor. And as a consequence, the risk reduction was not taking place. An estimated 2,500 preventable neural tube defect births occurred each year because women were simply unaware of the need to take folic acid before they became pregnant. The commissioner of the FDA, David Kessler, refused to allow that information into the marketplace. He stood as a barrier to that information. He was a pediatrician. He said, "I love kids, but I'm doing this because I'm protecting a process here at the FDA that ensures that only drugs can communicate therapeutic information." And so he prevented us from distributing that information in the marketplace. As a consequence, year after year after year after year, while the censorship took place, women were giving birth to children with neural tube defect births. We took up that cause. We went into court. We sued the Food and Drug Administration. We eventually won in the landmark case Pearson versus Shalala, and the court stood appalled at an agency of the government that had countenanced these neural tube defect births year after year and countless abortions of neural tube defect birth children that never had to be. And this is the kernel of evil that grows within this federal government. Censorship of health information. Freedom, liberty is the centerpiece of our Constitution. Freedom of informed choice is indispensable to our ability to control our biological destinies. If we don't have the information, we can't make the choices. If the government doesn't like the choices we make, that is too bad. We are this is for our own good. But you know, as early as the farewell address of George Washington, he gave us a message, a warning for future generations. He said, "Let there be no change by usurpation. For though in one instance it may be an instrument of good, it is the customary weapon by which free governments are destroyed. We have got to get back to our constitutional roots. We must restore." We must restore a constitution of liberty to this country. We were given a constitution in which we were sovereign, in which governors were to be our servants. They have become our masters, and we have become increasingly enslaved. We have an opportunity to change this. We have an opportunity to fulfill the great promise that James Madison gave us when in 1791 he introduced the Bill of Rights. We can make that document come alive again. We have to use our power at the voting booth. But during my lifetime, I will not rest so long as this government deprives us of the right to receive information that we must have to make helpful choices. We have a right to that information. It is indispensable to our health. And so help me God, I will do my part, and I ask you to do yours. Let's change this government back to a constitution of liberty. Thank you.
Now that's a real